Wrong side. Ha ha ho ho ho. Hee ha. Hee ha ho ho. Hee ha ha. Yeah. What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you the M.I.S.C monthly information for subscribers and contributors for December 2015, the last M.I.S.C of 2015. And yes, it still counts because, well, it's still technically 2015. For those who are actually paying attention to the upload date of this, it is the evening where I'm at of December 31st, New Year's Eve. So yeah, still technically counts. There will be an M.I.S.C for January, just so you guys know. I hope everyone had a great holidays with their family or doing whatever. If you spend it alone and that's how you prefer it, kudos to you. Do what, you do you. This is just going to be the regular format of M.I.S.Cs going into 2016. Now I'm going to outline that first. It's going to be channel related stuff, exactly what you can expect from my YouTube channel in the month to come in between, the next few weeks and so on and so forth. And then we're going to get into the ASQ. Yes, the ASQ, answering subscriber questions, is returning finally, and it's going to come back in the format of being in these M.I.S.C videos, because otherwise it just doesn't happen. It doesn't get enough visibility, and it just is not a thing. And finally, at the end of these videos will be me getting into more life stuff. It's at the end just so people who aren't that curious about what's going on and why things are happening the way they are happening, people who don't care about what's going on in my life to cause the changes or to cause whatever will be uploaded or won't be uploaded to my channel, that sort of thing. But getting right into it, first I just want to say, going into 2016, I do want to commit to a video every single day. I'll probably alternate between World of Tanks commentaries and Let's Plays, but at the very least, I will be focusing on not Let's Plays, because that's not the main reason why a lot of you come to my channel. It's not what my channel was founded on. It's commentaries, that sports commentator kind of play-by-play action, which I'm trying to develop more and more and get better at. And slowly but surely, I think I am. I'm still miles away from being incredibly proficient at it, but hopefully into 2016, I can just continue to improve, and you can continue to enjoy it. And clearly, I'm always going to be tripping over my own words until I just get more comfortable and confident in my abilities, and I don't ramble on like an idiot, like right now. But definitely going to be doing that sort of thing, that commitment to a video every single day, and we'll get into maybe a little bit more of that later on. But also, important to note, streaming is on a hiatus of sorts. As you can tell, my background has changed. That is simply due to the fact I am visiting family. I am actually staying with family for the moment. Now, nothing's happened with my previous living situation up with my buddy M.I.S.C. It's just life circumstances have kind of made it more beneficial for me to be staying with family at this point in time. I still have my room up at his house. Everything's cool between us. But because of that, my family doesn't have the best internet, and therefore not really going to be able to stream like I wanted to. I will ideally be able to sort out all the kind of logistics of it, get everything set up properly with Open Broadcaster, OBS, get everything set up with my Twitch channel, which you are more than welcome to go follow. When I do start streaming, you'll be able to see me do whatever I do live, which might be World of Tanks, me playing that, might be Armored Warfare, might be Heroes of the Storm, it might be a whole lot of things. But unfortunately, that's probably going to be on a hiatus for at least a few months. So, kind of unfortunate that has to be put on the back burner. I did do a test with it. I actually discovered that Battle.net games in general, and I discovered this initially with streaming, although I didn't quite know the reason why this happened during the stream, but later when trying to record the storyline, the campaign, that's what it's called. I couldn't remember that for a second. But trying to record the campaign for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, which I do want to do as a Let's Play for my channel, like my audio is completely way too blown out, my voice audio. And it turns out, Battle.net games, when I launched them, at least Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, completely reset my mic gain. Right now, it's at a 16, and it resets it to 100. So it completely blows it out, it destroys all the quality that was there. And I am using, a decent microphone, so I try to get the best audio quality I can to be better, it's for easier listening. I mean, the first thing you're going to offend with someone is their ears, more than anything. Visuals, they can kind of let go, they can kind of adapt to, but if your audio is just terrible, at least I mean, I'm an audiophile, so I'm a little biased, but I've heard that said by multiple people who do audio-video things, so kind of defeats the purpose, and it makes the footage almost unusable. But kind of going into that, Let's Plays, right now I do want to finish Undertale, I want to finish Star Wars Republic Command, I want to finish everything that is started on my channel, and I will also be open to suggestions. Right now there are 3 episodes of Undertale, but they require heavy editing just due to issues with Shadowplay, and it didn't capture the game audio, so I actually went and bought the soundtrack for the game, and I'm going to be adding all the music in post-processing, but that's going to take a lot of extra time to edit that in. So Undertale is going to resume for those who are following that Let's Play, but it's going to be somewhat delayed. Armored Warfare will also be commentary viable once they implement a replay system. At the point of this recording, as far as I know, it isn't a thing yet. Hopefully it will be a thing in the future. They've said it, they plan on it being a thing. I want it to be a thing. I enjoy Armored Warfare thoroughly. A bit more than World of Tanks because there's less RNG. But at the same time, I have a lot less invested in Armored Warfare, so I keep finding myself going back to World of Tanks because I have a lot of viewers who play it, who submit for that. I have a lot of friends and clanmates and a lot of time and a lot of money invested in World of Tanks, and it's not a terrible game, so it's actually quite good. I'm being way too hard on World of Tanks right now. It's just kind of what I've grown into, is just bashing World of Tanks. It's kind of what the more experienced player base does to have fun. It is what it is. But Armored Warfare hopefully does become a thing. Now getting into a bit more of the nitty-gritty of my channel, Patreon. Yes, I know, like, for some people it's a sore subject, but I do have a Patreon, and I do eventually want to just remove all sort of monetization on my channel. I want to get disconnected from my multi-channel network, which I joined out of ignorance when I was first getting started, around 100 subscribers, and now I'm 800 something subscribers, and still, I mean, it's small stuff, it's small game, but it's just for fun, and I'm actually trying to just get disconnected from them in general, and I might just completely cut all YouTube monetizing in total, so you guys don't have to deal with ads, and rely on Patreon. And on that subject, I want you guys to suggest things I can set as rewards for Patreon. I have 2 things on there right now, and there might be a 3rd thing coming on in the future that involves replay submissions. And don't worry, anyone who submitted replays isn't going to be cut out at this point in time. It's nothing, it's just, I mean, I'll talk about it more if and when it becomes a possible necessity. So, but right now there's only 2 rewards on my Patreon, and it's per video, per entertainment video. This isn't an entertainment video, this is a vlog, this is an update. Entertainment videos are Let's Plays, commentaries, any sort of video project I spend a lot of time on with the sole purpose of entertaining you, my viewers. So it's a very low monetization. I think I have it like 10 cents for one, or 5 cents for one, and like 15 cents for the other per video, which if I upload 30 to 40 videos a month, that adds up to be a couple dollars a month per person who pledges. And of course you always have the option otherwise, but to pledge what you want is what I mean by otherwise. But I do want to offer real tangible things on there, like that people want as benefits that aren't going to make any of my content exclusive per se. I've toyed around with the idea of, like, once I really start streaming and getting that going, like maybe doing exclusive streams, which will be uploaded to my channel later, but like only people who are Patreons in that tier get to watch it live, and then everyone else just kind of gets to see the video afterwards, the edited video with the highlights or whatever. So it's like no one's gonna miss out on all the good moments, only the boring stuff, and only it just means they couldn't like commentate on what's happening at the time, which, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest, which is why I'm asking you guys for help. Give me ideas for Patreon. Maybe make it to where, like, a certain tier, do what Rooster Teeth does. Make it to where it's like a sponsorship sort of deal where people in that tier see my videos like a day before they're officially visible on YouTube or something like that. Just like a little bit of incentive to help support all the time and effort I'm putting into this. I mean, again, I'm doing it for fun, but I would like to do it full time so I can just be constantly giving you guys entertainment and content. It's really a win-win when you think about it. You pay a little bit, like $1 a month, and if just like half my subscribers do that, well then that's $400 a month, which really eases the load on me where I don't have to be working as hard, because again, we'll go into life stuff later in this video, but it really allows me to focus more on my YouTube stuff and legitimize the time I spend on my YouTube stuff, because it's really hard to justify taking hours and hours and hours out of my days to put up YouTube videos when, yeah, it's fun, but I could be also doing a lot more productive things towards making progress in my career, making progress towards making money. I mean, let's be honest, and stuff like that. And getting right into it, the intent of my channel, this is going to be the last thing we talk about before we go into the ASQ sort of stuff, is just to be completely transparent with you guys and to have fun. It's to have fun and hopefully give other people a smile, something to smile about. And that's really the goal of my channel. And the only reason I'm trying to make money is so I can do it full time and like just consistently get that content out there. So it's not like only available one video a day or like one video every other day, or when things get really bad, one video a week just because I'm way too busy with life stuff. I want to be able to like bring a smile to people's faces every day. And unfortunately, doing it for free isn't just viable. It isn't really all that reasonable when I have all this other life responsibility that I have to take care of. And so if I could do it as a full-time sort of gig, that would be awesome. But that's the eventual goal of this channel. But the intent of it, like I said, just to have fun, give others something to have fun at, laugh at, smile at, and always be transparent with you guys. And towards that end, I've actually put up an FAQ / information about my channel, like kind of what I run, kind of how I do things in my channel's, is it called an about page? It's whatever, on the channel on the far right tab for channels. There's actually a link there to a Google document I set up with frequently asked questions that some of you have asked me several times, as well as just information I thought that general people would want to know. And so that's out there for sure. Go check that out just to see what I'm working with. Maybe you're wondering something about like my setup, what kind of graphics card I use or what microphone I use or whatever. That's all set up now. Definitely spread the word and let others know if they ask a question. That's all, like, that is on there. Just be like, oh yeah, check out his channel description, or I think it's an about page officially. Again, I don't remember what exactly it's called because I'm so professional at this whole thing. The running joke on my channel at this point. But pretty much everything I want to cover right there. Now getting officially back into the ASQ, the answering subscriber questions section, or where you guys ask Spang me questions, because, well, I checked the last video I did on this about a year ago. It was December 2014, if I recall correctly. So it's December 2015, it's long overdue. Most of the questions on there have long since been answered or addressed in some form or other, but I took some of them that I haven't maybe addressed as much, or I felt might be good, that again might fit into that who maybe everyone wants to know. So going into the first question, and as per usual, going with my philosophy of not really promoting fame grabbing, or kind of that, excuse me, maybe that if someone asks something I perceive to be if I respond to a question negatively and I start putting a question down, I don't want to be shaming a specific name. So to avoid any sort of thing, I think anonymity, like just keeping the question asker anonymous, is a good thing. I think it's just the way I like to do things. That way there's no negative side effect, either people just grabbing for attention, or just people possibly people getting put down or shamed on for asking a question, either by me accidentally, just due to maybe it's a hot subject and that I should have just left alone, or someone watches the video and they're like, well, that was a stupid question, and they go find it and they find the username because I said the username, and then they put down that person, and it's, online bullying sort of situation. I don't want to have any of those issues. So getting right into it after excessively rambling, when are you going to start doing Let's Plays? Kind of already touched on this. I definitely want to do Let's Plays in conjunction with commentaries on at least an alternating day format. At the very least, I want to do Let's Plays Monday, Wednesday, Fridays kind of deal, and then commentaries Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays sort of deal. I want commentaries to be the primary focus, even if it's just by one video a week. So I put out 7 videos a week, 4 of them commentaries, 3 of them Let's Plays. That's kind of like the ideal balance I achieve right now with this 1 video a day schedule. If I start uploading more than 1 video a day, certainly commentaries are always going to be the forefront of my channel, but I also don't want to put Let's Plays too far back on the back burner. Let's say ideally I would have Let's Plays, sorry, my screensaver went up just to show how long I've been at this already, which is too long. But these videos now with this new format are of course going to take a little bit longer. So kind of the way they're organized, the way they are. Still, Let's Plays, ideally I do Monday through Friday. Once I really can get into the swing of things, maybe I start getting enough support to where I can really commit more kind of full-time, or at least more of a part-time sort of mindset, where I do sort of it becomes a part-time job sort of deal, where it's not just whatever free time I have, it's I deliberately carve out part of my work day to do it because it's making me money. But my goal is eventually, honestly, like 50, 60 videos a month. If I could really support myself on it, 50, 60 videos a month. So tons of content, at least 2 videos a day, maybe as much as, 20 videos a week, which is 2 to 3 videos a day. And I mean, that's 80 videos a month for you guys, tons of content. But at the time, it's pretty much going to be, Let's Plays are always going to be take second seat, at least for the moment, to commentaries, but it's going to alternate as much as possible in terms of, like, if a commentary was this day, probably a Let's Play the next day. So look forward to that sort of schedule. Yeah, I think that answers the question more than enough. Next question, it's actually more of a suggestion of a thought sort of deal. So I was thinking maybe you could implement a face cam into your World of Tanks commentaries so that we can also see your reactions to them and not only hear your voice, just as something to consider in the future. So kind of asking if I can do a face cam sort of deal with my commentaries. And this does get into a bit more of what I want to do. And I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but it kind of slipped my mind. With my commentaries, I want to start doing a side-by-side where I am recording old commentaries at the same time I'm recording new commentaries. So I'm catching up on old patches like 9.6, still on 9.6. But while I'm doing 9.6, I want to do my 9.12, 9.13, and like kind of upload them side by side. And with the ones that are the newer version, those are on my desktop. The older versions are on my laptop. I can't do a face cam reasonably on my laptop. It just doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the capability. My laptop is, watch any 9.6 replay right now. That is a laptop recorded, rendered, made kind of video. It's good, it's fine, it meets standards. What I want to do on my desktop is 60 frames per second, face cam, sorry about bumping the mic there, face cam, sort of like full on, full quality, sort of like maximum viewership experience. And that is a bit more of a challenge, but I do want to try and implement it. Hopefully in the next week or 2, you'll see the first video coming out on that. It will be a 9.12 replay because I got like 3 of those to get through before I can get right into 9.13, which a couple submissions have come in for that as well. Thank you guys ever so much. Awesome of you to do that. And if I could stop hitting the microphone, that'd be amazing too. But I do want to try it out. Let me know what you guys think when you see it. And if it's well received, I'll continue to do it. Unfortunately, older games will continue to not have it, but ideally I get to the point where I am only doing newer games. I don't fall behind like I am right now, and I am only doing newer games with Facecam, and you guys are getting the best possible viewership experience like I mentioned before. But going into the next question, common one, I actually probably should have included this in the FAQ. I'm not quite sure if I want to though, just because it's a bit more I don't know if it if it is justified being in the FAQ. And you can let me know if I'm wrong about this. But the question is, what job do you have in the U.S. Air Force? So getting a little bit into life stuff, I am no longer active duty Air Force. I'm traditional, which means part-time Air National Guard with Maryland. So right now I am a traditional guardsman for the Air National Guard of Maryland, still doing the same job though that I did active duty Air Force, which is aerospace propulsion. That translates to I fix jet engines. I fixed C-130 jet engines in the regular Air Force, active duty Air Force. Now with the Air National Guard of Maryland, I fix A-10 engines, which a lot of people think is cool, and they're right because the A-10 is an awesome aircraft. My particular job isn't necessarily cool. It'd be a lot cooler if I was flying it, but right now I'll just settle for fixing an awesome plane, and hopefully we continue to have it, although Congress is trying to get rid of it, and they're saying it's going to be gone by 2021, which it may or may not be, because, I mean, they say a lot of things in politics, and how often do politics go as promised? I don't mean to get political, let's drop that right now, but that is what I do in the Air Force. And finally, last question, actually 2 questions. Have you ever thought about being a moderator in the radio, or a radio host, more or less? And honestly, I would be lying if I said the thought never crossed my mind. I do view my channel as a practice in public speaking, impromptu speaking, kind of a sort of radio-esque sort of deal. So, I mean, you can't argue that commentating on a World of Tanks game that a random person sends me, that I have no prior knowledge about, no scripted anything, isn't good for my public speaking skills, for my impromptu speaking skills. You know, it's very solid, real-world skill building. And I've thought about maybe looking for careers that implement that sort of skill set that I've been practicing for these past few years with varying degrees of success, obviously practicing it. Some of my videos are vastly better than others. I'm definitely have my on and off days. And I think if I was in a more relaxed environment, one where I kind of like perceived it as, I don't know, just being like, hey, you're on KW 117.7 with Spangle bringing you this morning's jams or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just something a bit more relaxed where I could just be a little less uptight about it. I don't know. For some reason, when I get into these YouTube videos, I always get overly enthusiastic and I'll get a little frazzled and flustered and trip over my own words, which is understandable. And again, that's why this is so great. It helps me get that practice. But I don't want to ramble on that too much. Yes, I've considered it. Have I looked into it or seriously considered it? No. Maybe one day. But as for now, certainly not. Too busy trying to take care of way too many other life things. And finally, last question. This may be a little off topic, but are you still a brony? Like, is that even still a thing? Yes, bronies are still a thing. And yes to both. I still consider myself a brony in the fact that I like the show, I like the community, I like a lot of the fan-created art, and it is certainly still a thing. It's definitely a lot less of a cultural phenomenon now because it's been going on for so long. It's been over 5 years now since the first My Little Pony new generation My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has started airing, since the bronies first started coming on the scene. And I've had a few discussions with this about some of my viewers. Yeah, some of the fans are pretty out there. I mean, that can go for Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek. Like, there's out there fans for everything. There's out there fans for football. You're gonna tell me there aren't some fanatic football crazy people that make you feel uncomfortable? I mean, come on. And in some fandoms and in some fan bases and whatever you want to call them, it is a little more visible or pronounced than in others, but everyone has it. And for the vast majority of the time, I mean, in the vast majority of circumstances, most fans are just regular people expressing, you know, their enthusiasm and excitement and interest in something that really legitimately makes them happy. And I mean, I will always advocate, if you're a fan of animation, if you think you've got an open mind for good TV in general, definitely give My Little Pony Friendship is Magic a shot. I was definitely close-minded about it at first. I thought there was no way in the world I would ever like the show. I thought it was stupid that the bronies were even a thing. I thought it was just a bunch of man-children running around, refusing to grow up. And then I actually like finally caved. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna hate on the show, I might as well know exactly what I'm hating on. And I'm just like, oh no, it's actually pretty good, and I think I like it. And here I am, like 3-4 years down the road, and still a fan. I'm just like, yeah, it's good, it's fun, it's entertaining. I legitimately enjoy it. Some of the best friends I've made are through meeting other fans of the show and just making those connections. And so I really can't bash it. And if you, like I said, if you think you got an open mind, definitely give it a shot. But that's gonna pretty much wrap up the ASQ right there. I'm gonna try and be better about being more concise with this whole thing in the future about the first part of the video, which is just getting right down into the nitty-gritty channel stuff, what's happening with my channel, what videos are coming out, what kind of schedule you can look at for the next month or two, that sort of thing. Next is going to be like ASQ, just strictly going into the questions, try not to ramble off on too many different tangents and rabbit holes, and just answering the questions as much as they need to be, rather than going into really deep detail like I clearly did during this video. And then finally get into life stuff, which is where I am free to ramble and roam and do whatever I want. Because if you stuck with the video that long, then clearly you care what I have to say about what's happening in my life, and maybe my rambling isn't so annoying to you. Maybe. I can dream, right? So, getting into it, I am staying with family for the moment, and that's more or less due to the fact that I got out of the active duty Air Force mid-2015 to try and go back to school full-time at University of Maryland, hence why I joined the Maryland Air National Guard. Unfortunately, things didn't happen quite the way I wanted them to. I wasn't able to get my application in for the fall semester on time, so I kind of just like figured out what I was supposed to do in life. In the meantime, got my application squared away for the spring semester, and I was told, well, you'll hear back from us in December. Heard back in December, they said no go, but that was, they're just like, we can't give you a slot this semester, try again later. I'm like, okay. So right now I'm kind of in the process of figuring out how I can strengthen my application, increase my chances for the upcoming fall semester later this year. And in the meantime, I am going to be working with my family down in South Carolina, my uncle, who is pretty much like a second father to me, and my aunt, who's pretty much like a second mother to me, and my cousin, who's pretty much my sister at this point. I'm pretty much staying at that house in South Carolina because my uncle just is doing a lot of work on fixer-upper houses to basically increase their value for selling them on the real estate market and all that good stuff. Flipping houses is essentially what it's called. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of hard work for him. Going back up to Maryland, it's about a 5-6 hour drive, depending on traffic, to go from where I'm at, because I'm right northern part of South Carolina, so almost North Carolina at this point. And heading up there, and obviously this puts a lot of travel on me to do the Air National Guard stuff once a month, but it's only once a month. But that is why I'm in this house, that's why I'm in this room. They've pretty much given me this room, paying me to, in form of letting me stay with them, providing me groceries. It's almost like living at home again as a teenager. And but at the same time, it's really stable, it's nice, it's establishing some good connections with family that I haven't been able to spend time with in a really long time, like a good, solid family time sort of deal because of the military, because I was in the Air Force Academy, I was active duty Air Force, I deployed to Afghanistan. Like the past 7, 8 years or so, I've been just like so busy everywhere. It's like family kind of had to take a back seat to needs of the Air Force. And that's just how life goes. But now I kind of get the opportunity to do work for my uncle, help him out with all this housing construction stuff. Renovation is actually a more accurate term, and get into that sort of deal. They're gonna definitely be helping me, paying my bills and all that good stuff to really support myself until I can get back into school. They just closed on a house, so I'll be doing that. I'll have work to do. I'll be working my butt off during the day, but doing this YouTube stuff in the evenings after I get back from work with my uncle and kind of trying to keep up with all of it. Hence the one video a day. I mean, if I was just sitting on my butt, going to school every other day, collecting GI Bill money, and able to do that, 2 videos a day, easy. At minimum 1 video a day, probably 2 to 3 videos a day if I had a really calm area. I mean, a really calm space of time where I didn't have a lot of homework or whatever from classes. That would have been the ideal thing. I would still be up at M.I.S.C's house in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and all that good stuff. But life had other plans, and that's all right. I mean, I'm just rolling with the punches, as the expression goes. I'm more than capable of landing on my feet from whatever setbacks. I mean, this University of Maryland thing to me is just a minor setback. I'm a very optimistic person, as you can tell. And even with that optimistic personality, as I've discussed in the past, still have my little bouts of where I lack motivation and enjoyment from the things I do. I mean, I hit my depression spots just like everyone else. But plus side of that is, again, staying with family. And my aunt, like I said, she's pretty much my second mother, raised me right alongside my mother. And they are biological sisters. She is a doctoral candidate for psychology. So if I do happen to go through any sort of depressive episode that's delayed from this whole like being rejected from University of Maryland, and all of a sudden I feel like soul-crushing weight on me, it's like I've literally got a counselor living in my house who knows me and understands me and really can help me get through anything that comes my way. So I am blessed in that regard. But that's pretty much what's going on with my life, what's going on with my channel. Hopefully I answered a lot of questions. And I meant to say this at the end of the ASQ. I'm so sorry. But if you have any questions for the next video, the next ASQ portion, definitely put them in the comment section below, and they will be answered next video next month. Or you can send it to my Twitter with the hashtag Spang ASQ. Just, it's not that hard to figure out, I would imagine. And in fact, it'll say it in the description below too, so check that out. Comments also if you just don't like using Twitter, whatever. And I will answer those in the next video, but I've certainly rambled on more than enough for this one. I think I'm probably at 20, 30 minutes at this point. I want to have these 20 minutes or less, which is a tall order for me, who loves to hear the sound of my own voice. Yeah, I'm a narcissistic, I'm half joking, but thank you ever so much for watching. Hope you got a lot of good information out of this. And until next time, this has been Spang, and I am just clearly oh so professional.